Well, I'd like to welcome Alfie Smith to the show today, to the Blues Tribe. Thank you, brother, for coming on to the show.
Anytime. I really appreciate it.
Great. So you're from Hamilton and a very proud Hamiltonian.
Yep.
And I've heard you mention in the past that Hamilton is a good place to live when it comes to being a blues artist.
Yes, it is.
And why is that from your perspective?
Well, I think it's a very working class background and kind of a working class town. So the blues has always been in Hamilton from the Jackie Washington family, and they have a really rich history in Hamilton and to the Kennedys, and so it has a good history of being a blues town. And I think an industrial working environment lends itself to blues. Like Chicago, Detroit.
And your Uncle Fred was a big influence from a musical perspective. Tell me a little bit about his influence.
My Uncle Fred always had like a bluegrass band, and we always lived in the same house, a big house on Barton Street. We each had like 3-bedroom apartment. It used to be a bank a million years ago. So he was a bluegrass musician, and so I would go down and watch him play all the time. And actually, he started teaching me how to play, and then we went to go see the movie La Bamba. And on the ride home, I think I was about 11 or 12, maybe 13, and I'd been taking guitar somewhat seriously, but once I saw that movie, it just kind of clicked. And because of that and the movie Crossroads, not the Britney Spears Crossroads,
Thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah. Ralph Macchio, Ry Cooder soundtrack, Crossroads, those two movies really influenced me.
Where do you think the blues genre is going today?
Chicago style blues is a lot more prevalent, and it's what most people are doing and what most people think of blues. But it's kind of an interesting thing, because if you look at more of the acoustic side, I think that's more appealing in a weird way to the younger generation than the Chicago style blues for some reason. And I think that's a good thing, because like a lot of blues festivals, the crowds are getting slightly older, and it's just. But for acoustic blues, it seems like there's a little more crossover for younger stuff.
Crosses over to some people who are maybe folk fans or singer-songwriter fans. Roots.
Yeah.
They can kind of identify with that.
I mean, it's like everything. Everything changes its label. Like a lot of what I do could be considered roots music now. But in reality, it's just old blues. But genres change. It's just,
I heard you say once that you don't consider yourself to be a blues man. What do you mean when you say that?
Like a blues man. When I think of a blues man, I think about someone, like Muddy Waters or like you have to. I'm a blues musician, but I'm not a blues man. Like I've never picked cotton, and I tend not to sing about those type of things either. Like I think blues can be very contemporary, and as a writer, I should be singing about contemporary things because that's where I live. I'm not going to sing about hitching a horse to a hitching post because I've never done that.
I've actually noticed that about a lot of your songs that you write. That there's nothing in your music that is very should I say era specific?
Yeah.
People could listen to your songs 50 years from now and not know that it was written 50 years ago.
Yeah, and personally the blues musicians that I really admire, like Robert Johnson, like with the exception of things like Terraplane Blues, because that car's been out of production for a lot of years. But at the time, the Terraplane was a modern car. He sung about but for other things, and it was an analogy to something else. But he didn't, his songs are timeless because they're about heartbreak and about loss and about things that you want, and that's what I think blues at its best can be.
Right.
Make mistake, we all take the wrong roads. Some of us can never go home. The train when we need over all the wanted. How can I find my way home? You burn the only one who ever needed you, just to watch a pretty flame. You discount the old over something brand new, and now the only one left to blame. We all make mistakes, we all take the wrong road. Some of us can never go home. The train when we need over all the wanted. How can I find my way home? Come a gust of wind, oh, it blows out your pretty flame. You cry the ashes that you burn. But in the light of day, oh, everything looks so distant. But you have no sway with the hands of time. We all make mistakes, we all take the wrong road. Some of us can never go home. We train when we need over all the wanted. How can I find my way home? Facing the mirror, it looks so distant, but you never shed a tear for what you've done. Everyone that you hold so dear, for just another look at the sun. We all make mistakes, we all take the wrong road. Some of us can never go home. We train when we need over all the wanted. How can I find my way home? We train when we need over all the wanted. How can I find my way home? How can I find my way home? How can I find my way home?
Why don't you tell us about your guitar?
It's a National Resophonic, made from the new company in California. National went out of business for probably about 40, 50 years, but they're making them, in my opinion, every bit as good, if not better, than the originals, and they're a lot more stable and are in tune for the most part, much more than the originals.
And how long have you had that one?
This one I've had for about 6 or 7 years, and it's starting to show that I've been playing it a bit.
Yeah, it looks like it's
Yeah, it's starting.
It's getting some character.
Yes. Yeah.
And how many albums of yours has that guitar been the primary instrument on?
I'd say about 2 or 3.
I
think 3.
The last 3?
Yeah.
Okay. And when can your fans expect something new out from Alfie Smith?
Probably 2016. I'm probably going to do more of a harder, darker electric blues album.
Okay.
Just because it's something I've always loved doing, but I've never really done out. that much. Just a little more grittier and dirtier, and I like that style of blues. But it's more. I like the electric, very early electric, when the Lightning Hopkins and the first players first got the electric instruments in their hands. So they were still playing them a lot like acoustic instruments, but with the volume and distortion of electric instruments bring you.
Okay, so there's going to be a different sound on this upcoming album.
Yeah, it's still going to sound like me, but it's going to be a little more swampier.
And are you going to have a band with you, or will it still be solo?
It's going to be a three-piece. Yeah.
A three-piece, okay.
Yeah.
Great. What do you think are the key elements of a good blues song?
I think the most important thing is being truthful, but I think that's about songwriting in total. I think that you should sing about what you know about, like don't sing about things that you've never experienced. Sing about, your experiences and how you really feel about something, And when you're singing a song, I think you have to be a little bit, not like an actor, but you have to be thinking about the lyrics that you're singing, not just rhyming them off. Because I think you emote with your voice, and I think that's an important thing.
You've also made a comment at one time that you feel that blues people are songwriters first.
Yes, and I think it's speaking of the much older generation, like Robert Johnson. He wrote most of his songs, but he's not considered a songwriter. He's considered just a blues musician. And I think it's almost a bit of a racist thing, because like all these people were creating music, but they're not considered music creators. They're just performers. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that because I think people think of songwriting as an intellectual pursuit, and it is. And they were writing songs back then, and they were songwriters, and some of the best songwriters that have ever been. But they don't get the due credit that they deserve, in my opinion.
Yeah. Now you actually don't read music.
No, I don't.
Oh, write music. So you do. So when you write something, it's by ear.
It's by ear, but for the most, I can read when it says C over top of the lyrics, but I don't read written music or tablature. I just, I write out the song and put the chords over top of where the chord changes are, and that's it.
Really?
Yeah. And I've taught people that have wanted me to write out tab, and I can write out tab, but it takes me about 5 times as long, because it's basically looking at a fretboard and laying it out, and you can do it, but it's not something I've ever done. Music to me is watching someone play or hearing someone play.
Really?
Yeah.
And in your early days of when you discovered the blues, who were you trying to mimic, if there was anybody?
A lot of Robert Johnson. I tried to play like Robert Johnson a lot when I was younger, and I still admire his playing to no end.
Was there any one particular song of Robert Johnson that kind of was the pinnacle moment for you, where I said, I really dig this?
It would either be Stones in My Pathway, which is just a brilliant song, or Kind-Hearted Woman, one of those two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, great. Well, I want to thank you very much for
problem.
coming on the show.
Yeah.
And if you have not had a chance to see Alfie Smith perform, do look him up online. Go on his website. All his performances are there. And you won't be disappointed if you go see him live. And thank you, brother, for coming on to the show.
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right.
Yeah. Tell me, honey, am I right or am I wrong? Tell me, honey, am I right or am I wrong? When can I stop singing same old lonely song? Sun is shining, the crops begin to grow. yourself, you don't reap what you sow. And